everybody. It's Stewart Swerdlow.
And Janet Diamoria Swerdlow.
For expansions.com, and it's been, I think, about a month since I've spoken to you.
A long time, at least a month.
Yeah, it's been a lot of things that have happened, and this is the podcast for the end of September 2014, so I'm going to say that up front. But I also want to thank everybody who sent condolences to Janet and I on the passing of our mothers this month. We appreciate all of your words, and your people sent cards and even flowers, and it was very, very nice, and we appreciate that very much. And there were so many of you, we just couldn't possibly answer each one of you individually. So please accept this as our thank you for all of your kindnesses. And it has, as you know, has been a very challenging summer this year, and
last year too.
Well,
we've had a couple challenging.
But it's been quite a doozy this year, and so we're glad summer's over.
Yeah.
So kind of, and
technically
and
it is.
Autumn season is beginning. And also, I never had a chance because I haven't been on the camera, and that is to thank the people on my trip. The people of Poland were very nice and kind to me, and I had so much work. I worked 12, 14 hours a day without a break, basically. And I did that for them, and I appreciate that. We had about 200 people at the seminar in Poland. And
so they came from all over?
They came from all over Europe, as far away as Ireland, from France, from Romania, from Germany, Denmark, Austria. Did I say France? They came from France, all over, and of course from all over Poland. So it was quite amazing and very exciting. And I was already asked to come back, so I'll be back in Poland in 2015.
We're looking possibly toward the first part of March.
Very first part of March,
yes.
Even at very end of February.
Yeah,
so that'll be on the site.
Yeah, watch the website. We're working out.
We'll talk about that at the end anyway. And also, I want to thank the people in Iceland, especially in Reykjavik and in Akureyri, which was very interesting to go there. And I'm going to actually be talking about what I discovered there at our conference in a couple of weeks in October for the Alien Agenda, because there's information that I found there that is appropriate for that topic. And it was also interesting, while I was in Iceland, the volcano was erupting.
Yeah.
But thanks to the work I did and the work I asked the people of Iceland to do, instead of having an ash and rock explosion, instead the volcanoes just oozed the lava gently out. And so it was more, didn't disrupt anything. So I'm very grateful for that too. As an aside, the other places I went to, I just have to make a comment about it because, I do work for TripAdvisor and all of that. So Helsinki Airport on many of the travel sites has been listed as one of the top wonderful places to be. It's not. Helsinki Airport was pretty bad. The lounges were closed. It was crowded. The flights were delayed. There was construction at the gates. They changed my gate 5 times in 2 hours. I will not go back to Helsinki until they fix it. Same thing, a little bit disappointed in Copenhagen Airport. That used to be a very nice place and very pleasant, and it is no longer so pleasant. And also SAS, airline that's named after me. They actually named the airline after me. But I'm ashamed to say it's not the way it used to be either. Not so good.
Yeah, and I don't know if you wanted to mention this about the Japanese volcano, if you have that.
Well,
because I thought that was interesting, the story you told me, since you mentioned the Icelandic volcano.
Yes, and actually I'll be talking about that next. But my friends and sponsors in Japan asked me to write a statement for all the people who were at my seminar last May. And I wrote a statement, and in my statement I wrote about the volcanoes and how they need to release their anger so that these things wouldn't happen. And as she read the statement to them, the volcano erupted. So she texted me immediately, and she says, "You can't make this up." She said, it really impacted them when they read the statement to them. So actually I want to talk about California first.
All right.
So on to the actual news, and you may have heard that the Mammoth volcano in California has been rumbling, and they're calling it, in quotes, volcanic unrest by the United States Geological Survey, or the USGS. There have been, in the last few days, 36 earthquakes from ranging 2.6 to 3.8. It's the largest swarm they've had in many decades. A seismologist, though, at the California Volcano Observatory said that it's bigger than we've seen recently, but normal. I don't think it's normal. And it is part of the Long Valley Caldera, which is a huge volcanic region that goes along the western United States. And they said it's been uplifting slowly over the last several decades, and seismologists are continuing to monitor it. Now, the last time, and I didn't know this, the last time it actually erupted was 57,000 years ago. And some scientists are saying that these quakes are the result of tectonic movement, not volcanic activity. So it depends on who you read, which science locations you're looking at. Some say it is the magma coming up, some say it's just tectonic movement. You know what? It's all related to the same thing. So California, just be careful. Now to Japan, and this week, Mount Ontake erupted Saturday morning, sending big plumes of smoke and ash into the atmosphere. So far, as of this morning, they assume that 30 people have been killed because there were 250 hikers on that mountain when it erupted. They have had 17 to 20 inches or 40 to 50 centimeters of volcanic ash covering the area. And they're looking for some of the hikers who have unfortunately vanished. This volcano last erupted in 2007, so it's not that long ago, and it's about 250 kilometers west of Tokyo. But rescue efforts are underway to find the missing hikers. But one thing that we need to remember, it's very close to Mount Fuji, which is known to be filling up with magma, and in fact the Japanese meteorological observatories have warned people in the area about Mount Fuji, and yet this other one erupted. So I would keep an eye on Mount Fuji. Now, to more North American news. And this is a very interesting thing. There was a man in Oklahoma, worked in an Oklahoma food processing plant, who was fired, went on a rampage, and beheaded a 54-year-old woman with a knife. Where have we heard that before? And he wounded another worker before the CEO of the company shot him. And it turns out the CEO was actually a former sheriff department person. This man was named Alton Nolan. He's 30 years old. He was trying to convert several people to Islam before all of this happened. And there's the FBI involved, of course, and they said that the motive for the attack has not been determined. But, they said, there's no reason to believe that it's a threat to anyone else. And so far, they said, there's no connection to terrorism. Well, let's look at that, because this guy, who beheaded this woman, has served time in prison on battery and on cocaine possession. So then why was he working at this place? You know, I guess there was no background check.
Well, they talk about that they use those same knives there at that plant that he used. So there he's a violent person, and as you said, perhaps no background check, allowing him to basically have free access to all these.
Now, I think it was his Facebook page, apparently had a lot of violent images on it, a lot of, they said they can't even show it to the public how horrible it was, and yet they say there's no connection to what's going on in the Middle East. Well, obviously, he's been triggered and probably programmed for these beheadings, and we're going to talk about these beheadings at the seminar, I believe, because it's very symbolic.
Yeah, and the other thing too, which we talk about all the time, is well, most people these days we talk about, you are programmed, so you do need to be watching. We have on the member side, we have mind control and deprogramming videos on the member side of our site. We have beginning exercises in our books, so that you're not triggered by these kind of events, because I reported while you were gone about a man who self-beheaded.
I don't know how you could do that.
What he did is he put a chain around his neck.
Oh, yeah.
And then he tied it to a light pole or something, and he got in his pickup truck and he pushed on the accelerator, and that was the end of him.
That's
That's
programmed.
horrible. That's definitely programmed.
Nobody would normally
course
want
not.
to commit suicide that way.
Oh,
You know,
well,
take a
normally you shouldn't want to commit suicide at all.
pill. Right, but they
That's
would
a-
do it a little more conventionally, I would
They're saying
suspect.
about a lot of things that I don't agree that either they're programmed or somebody else did it.
Now, at the same time this was going on, a man who was a contract worker at the FAA Radar Center in Aurora, Illinois, which is 40 miles west of Chicago and handles all of the radar in the region, decided he was going to set fire in the bathroom and slash his wrist and kill himself. And because of that, smoke filled up the building and they had to shut down the radar. 1,800 flights were canceled out of the big O'Hare and Midway airports in Chicago. And the fire was set deliberately, but again, they're saying it is not a terrorist act. It was an attempted suicide. And my question is, first of all, there's got to be a connection. It happened the same day as this thing in Oklahoma. It involves travel in the United States, which the terrorists, so-called terrorists, said they were going to disrupt. And here's another question. Chicago is the second busiest airport in the world, not just the United States, but the world. Why was there no backup system? How could they have radar for airports like this, knowing that there could be an electrical problem, there could be tornadoes, there could be earthquakes? How could they not have a backup system? I think what we're seeing here is a test for something else that's about to show up, and we have to be prepared for whatever may come in that respect.
Well, and not only that, but sometimes they shut down airports because there is something up in the skies, that they don't want people to see or be aware of. So that's also a possibility. And we don't really, again, it's like everything else, but this is what we're being told happened. Perhaps somebody intentionally set the fire and they claimed it was this, or the person was programmed to do X, Y, and Z on a certain day. Because we're seeing such heavy bombardment in the earth, things we're going to be talking about, that people are responding a lot of depression, just life isn't going well for them. And as we talked about right in the beginning of the month, September was a month of endings or completion.
Yeah.
So some of these agendas are completing. We saw in our personal lives, we saw our mothers completing their life paths. We have a lot of completion here in other areas that are going on. So you have to be aware and you have to do your best to be able to read the symbolism behind what's going on.
Now, did you ever think that I would agree with the leader of Iran?
I don't know. It depends on what the leader of Iran says. And
Well-
who put the leader of Iran in power?
Well, yes, but let me tell you what happened.
What?
CNN, has that Christiane Amanpour, who's an international correspondent, head of all of that actually, and she interviewed Iranian President Hassan Rouhani. And you know what he said? He said the airstrikes against ISIS militants are a psychological operation, not a military one. And he said, we need a vast campaign of operations, and this is the important part. He said, the aerial bombardment campaign is mostly a form of theater, so it's staged, rather than a serious battle against terrorism. Mm-hmm. Well, I agree with him.
Now, we've heard about those things before, where that they go in before they fly the planes over and they set their explosives, and then they fly the planes over and then they detonate from the ground, but they make you think they're dropping.
And what I didn't know, which is not on our news, it says Iran has sent Revolutionary Guard units into Iraq. Now that would be considered an act of war because Iran and Iraq had an 8-year war when Hussein was in power, and that the Revolutionary Guard's force has even been photographed on the ground in Iraq. Now that is not on our news. So that is a significant development, and I think the whole thing is staged. Obviously, these are sophisticated so-called terrorists. Where did they get their money? Where did they get their weapons, their training? These did not come out of little villages in the Middle East. Sorry.
We know when I was, when you were away and I reported that they said that ISIS receives $3 million per day.
From the oil.
And everything else.
But here's the thing. They're getting it from oil fields in Syria. Syria was never a major oil developed country. You never heard of Syrian oil.
But who's going to buy it? Who's going to buy it from the terrorists?
Who's buying it? That's the thing.
$3 million a day, that's what I said.
People,
something's not right.
Something's not right, and that's the truth.
A lot
Something's
is not
rotten
right.
in Syria,
That's
And
my
speaking of that, because the statement is something's rotten in Denmark,
Right.
Well, guess what?
What?
Just 2 weeks after President Obama, who's another staged event, said that America, and I quote, "America will lead a broad coalition to roll back this terrorist threat." Well, since he said that, more than 50 countries have agreed to support the fight. But here's something. Guess who recently said they're joining the fight? Belgium and Denmark. Well, we're saved. When Belgium and Denmark decide to help, we're nothing to worry about, because they're so powerful. Seriously. So even Russia said they would help, by the way. And according to the British Prime Minister, David Cameron, he said that ISIS is reviled for its beheadings, crucifixions, gouging out of eyes, the use of rape as a weapon, and the slaughter of children. Well, it seems to me like the West has done that in other places, hasn't it? And he also said, left unchecked, we will face a terrorist caliphate on the shores of the Mediterranean and bordering a NATO member with a declared and proven determination to attack our country and our people. And of course, he was referring to the Mediterranean shores of Turkey, which ISIS is at the border of Turkey and creating problems. And they also have attacked Lebanon. So we have the Crusades all over again, and the Islamic invasion all over again from 1,000 years ago. So.
And I was also talking about this while you were gone. There was a children's coloring book now that's being put out by a St. Louis publisher who talks all about ISIS and everything and is teaching the children what they are. So what I said is the children now are being indoctrinated and they will know nothing different except for this and prepared.
Well, the whole thing is a big show, as the Iranian president stated.
And the other thing, did you see, I don't know if you were back in time, to see the video clip, that's gone viral, of Obama saluting his soldiers with a coffee cup.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think there was coffee in there. I think he had some vodka.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
I believe, because I've noticed since that happened, he walks on stage holding this white cup. So
drugs are in there.
What would white be for a programming trigger for people?
Well, code white means, you leave the person alone and they're untouchable.
Okay, well, because the thing is, he's got this cup, he's doing this, and it's gone viral. And I've not noticed him walking on stage with the cup, and so it's like you keep looking at this white, it's pure white.
It's a trigger for him, and I'm sure there's stuff in there.
Yeah.
And how disrespectful, regardless of what we think about military, he's supposed to be in charge of the military, and he doesn't have the decency to put his freaking cup down, screw you, I don't even care about you.
But that tells me it's staged.
Of course.
It tells me that they did it for a reason. It's got to be a programming trigger for the public as well.
It also says he doesn't care about or respect them.
So I thought that was
set up a military coup in the U.S.
Yeah. And so anyway, I wanted to be sure and bring that out because to me that was significant in another layer than what the news is going to tell you. It has to do with something to do with programming. So keep your eye on that white cup that he carries around with him because it's becoming more and more prevalent, I think.
I agree with you.
Okay. All right, so you ready for me?
Go on.
All right, I wanted to talk briefly about Ebola. Okay.
A bowl of fruit or?
Ebola, the virus. And while you were gone, I think I was reporting on the fact that the U.S. actually owns the patent on the Ebola vaccines. Okay?
Isn't that interesting?
So keep that in mind because here we have in Liberia a new plan by the Liberian government, the World Health Organization, and their nonprofit partners, which are launching a controversial program to move infected people out of their homes and into ad hoc centers that will provide rudimentary care, with the idea being that they won't infect the people in their homes and therefore spread it. Now, apparently these centers are going to be between 15 to 30 beds, and they're going to set up as many as 70 centers across Liberia, and they want to do the same for Sierra Leone. Now, listen to this part. Doctors Without Borders is not supporting this effort. They're saying that the money should be going into hospitals and high-level situations, not into these particular centers, and they are saying that they can turn into contamination centers.
Right.
I personally feel that they're doing this because they're going to be experimenting on poor people.
They are.
Who cannot speak up for themselves.
It's already happening.
Well, they're going to make it official. So watch these containment centers, I'm going to call them, not a...
And again, I want to repeat, because I know I did this a month ago, I said, isn't it interesting that both HIV and Ebola supposedly began in Africa and supposedly began by an infected monkey who bit a human being and transmitted disease, and that's how it spread, which we know that's not possible.
Well, in my opinion, it has to do with population annihilation, because we've been reading about how that they are actually putting a lot of industry and agriculture and building up in Africa. You know, farms, 25,000 acre farms, and taking away the land from the people.
And again, I want to emphasize that that flight MH17 that was shot down in Ukraine, aboard were all the Ebola and HIV experts going to a conference in Australia, and now they're gone.
Yep. Okay. And then, I don't know, did you read about the hundreds of Colorado students who had a walkout because they were protesting the history curriculum? Did you read about
Something
that?
about that, I can't remember.
Okay, this is what's interesting, because what we're seeing in the schools is they're taking out the older teachers, and by older, you know, anybody with maybe 20.
Anyone over 45.
That's about right. They're chasing them away, and for those people, they can hire two younger ones who are eager to work and will do whatever the new agenda is.
And who are brainless.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but they are.
So with that in mind, this proposal, they want to establish a committee to regularly review texts and course plans, starting with advanced placement history, the smartest people, of course, and they want to make sure that the materials, quote, promote citizenship, patriotism, essentials, and benefits of the free market system, respect for authority and respect for individual rights, and do not encourage or condone civil disorder, social strike, or disregard of the law. In other words, you can't question anything anymore,
Right.
which we've always been raised in America. You know, you always have a voice, you have free speech, you can say whatever you
That was
want.
a long time ago.
Okay, now listen to this part. There are 3 conservative members who took office in November, and those are the ones who are trying to implement this plan. The other 2 board members were elected in 2011, and they oppose the new plan because they say it discourages discussion and critical thinking.
Well, they'll be gone soon.
Yes, so they're putting in new people, they're taking out the old, and they're putting in new agendas, and that's going to affect the people, obviously, as the coming generations. Okay, Texas, it says conservative school board officials are facing criticism over new textbooks. South Carolina conservatives have called on education oversight to ask the College Board, which again oversees their advanced placement courses, to rewrite their framework to make sure there's no ideological basis or bias. So there's a lot of stuff again going on with the things in school, and I told you about the coloring books, you know, that they want to put in to encourage the kids to know about ISIS and whatever. Now, following on those heels, the Satanic Temple wants to also put in a coloring book.
Yeah, I heard about
Did you read about that?
Yeah, I heard about
Because in Florida, apparently, they were allowed in Orange County for a Christian group to distribute Bibles. So therefore, the Satanic group wants to put their coloring book in to teach kids about their viewpoint.
About Satan.
About Satan. And of course, they're the same group that wants to put a monument in Oklahoma at
For
their
Satan.
courthouse for Satan. Yeah, so a lot of it is going on, but again, it's opening that frequency and getting people used to it. And while you were gone, I reported on a statue of Satan with his male genitalia fully functional for commuters to see. That was put on a pedestal where it used to be Christopher Columbus. And
Is there a difference?
well, that's, again, a point. So, again, the idea of Satan is being put forward more and more in the public's view. Now, this headline caught my attention. It says, alien invader found in Rocky River. So the term alien invader makes me think, where have I heard that term before, right? Well, what that is, it happens to be a sea lamprey, which made its way from the Atlantic Ocean into Lake Erie, but they made a big deal about this parasite, and it's been around in the Great Lakes actually for quite some time.
Well, they said it was brought in by ships that came in.
Yes, they continue to say that. However, I wanted to remind people about the Queen's Diamond Jubilee.
The Queen?
The Queen. Because do you remember what she had served at her Diamond Jubilee?
Well, you know, she didn't invite me, so I don't know.
Okay, well, they wrote about it, and I actually reported about it. They actually made her a sea lamprey pie.
Yuck.
And if you've ever seen a picture of this thing, it looks like a giant worm, and it's just got like this big round thing.
Well, she probably eats them live. She probably just drops them in.
Well, apparently they made it into a pie, but it's got all these things of teeth, and it's like a huge parasite in my opinion.
I'm not going to that restaurant.
But they made this for her 60th birthday, or 60 years of reign, I'm sorry. And apparently this has been a Christmas tradition. It's like, who would eat these things? And she actually got her...
But you know, the British can't cook.
But
They
she
don't know
got
what- they
her
don't know what
sea
they're
lamprey
doing.
at that time from the Great Lakes area. So, and then now the chefs always cook up, let's for the Christmas tradition, they make one of these for the Queen. So if you see this animal, look up what a sea lamprey is.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it is horrible. So the fact that she's eating it, and then the fact, again, they're using that to call an alien invader. I mean, it's like not really news for us here, but the term, they're using that again to open the frequency.
It's a trigger.
Okay, now, yes. Now I want you to say this name for me 3 times.
Oh, really? Just because
Yes.
I was in Iceland?
Yes, can you say that?
Lagerfjordsummer.
Okay. That's Iceland's legendary lake monster, was caught on tape.
Yes, I know.
Did you read about that?
My friend's
Yeah.
father, my friend's father, was the one that did the video.
Okay, did he see it?
Yes, he filmed it.
Okay, because here they say that a 13-member panel convened in Iceland to decide if the grainy footage that was released in 2012 was actually, say it again,
Lagerfjordsummer.
a legendary lake monster first reported in 1345.
Yes.
So,
And
anyway.
it's real. They all believe it.
They're saying that it's just a stunt to draw crypto tourism to Iceland.
No, because no one goes to that area. You can't go to that area.
Anyway, so I thought you would find that interesting. Now we also have scientists who are talking about slowing down time and saying that now they can prove that they can slow down time.
Well-
Again, we continue to bring forward the time travel.
Because it's an illusion anyway.
Right. So they talked about how that originally, when they did in 1971 an experiment, they put 4 atomic clocks on airplanes that were going around the world, and they compared the time shift from those clocks to the atomic clock at the National Observatory in Washington, D.C. And just like Einstein predicted, the airborne clocks were going slower. If you travel 1 year at 95% the speed of light, you'd age 1 year, whereas people on Earth would age 3.5 years. If you go 50% the speed of light, it would only be 1.15 years. So the effect gets stronger as you go faster. And now there's huge news for physics because now the Germans have perfected a study. It's called time dilation. They can do this in a lab.
I can dilate my eyes.
Yeah. So now they don't have to measure it on spacecraft or use airplanes. They can do it in the lab. So again, we're moving forward with the concept of time travel in the public
Well,
eye.
you know what they call me in Iceland?
Do I want to know? Is
No,
it?
it's called Timmerflickerin. I'm a time traveler.
Yeah? All right. Well, that's true.
That's going to be my new title.
I like that title.
Timmerflickerin.
Yeah, just have to learn to say it, but it's a good one. Now there's water discovery on a small planet, which this was kind of a strange thing to me because the scientists, they claim, have found traces of water on a planet smaller than Jupiter, and the planet is called HAT-P as in Paul -11B as in boy.
That's a very lovely name.
Yeah, it's about the size of Neptune. Now they say this is a gaseous planet, so if they say it's a gaseous planet, how can it have water?
I know people like that.
How can it have water on it? But that's what they're claiming, and they're saying that's only 120 light years away.
Only? We play with Scott.
It can't support life because it's a ball of gas.
How do they know from 120 light years away?
But they say they want to understand water on different planets so that they know how and where to search for it.
Listen to me. They don't know the weather tomorrow, let alone what the water content is 120 light years away.
Well, they can't find a plane that's missing, remember?
Seriously, this is all malarkey.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, okay, it doesn't make sense because first of all, they said it could be a key to Earth 2.0.
2.0 what?
2.0, that's what they say. Like, a version of a software, how they go 2.0 or whatever. Well, this is Earth 2.0. So, they said water discovery on small planet could be key to Earth 2.0. And then they go on into all this stuff. But again, they're putting out there that there's another Earth-like planet.
Yeah, they've been doing that a long time.
Yeah, and then they say it's filled with gas and can't support
That's
life.
because they're getting ready for the staged alien invasion.
And then you're going to talk about that in October.
I'm going to talk about it in October.
Yes.
You better come
So
here,
don't
people.
reveal anything now.
I'm not keeping it a secret till they get here.
That's right. And listen to this one. Japan wants to build an elevator to the space station, which is again ISS.
You know what? That was in an Isaac Asimov book from like 30 years ago.
They say that it was first suggested in the 19th century by a Russian scientist. This is going to be a 60,000-mile space elevator.
Did you get on that elevator? I
It
wouldn't get
will
on that
take
elevator.
1 week. By the year 2050, it's supposed to be
Yeah?
implemented.
Well, I'm not getting on here.
30 people at one time can
Really?
go.
Not me.
And they said they didn't used to have the capacity for the cable, but now they do. And so
Yeah.
they claim they have a team of people in Japan working on this. And so they're working out every step of the way and what could be the issues as they construct this.
You know, when I go back to Japan,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a stop to that.
I think that's a good
Because
idea.
I think that's just plain wrong.
Well, they can just time travel there. They
First
don't
of all-
need a
first of all,
60,000
what
mile
happens
space
if-
elevator.
What if it gets stuck? Who's gonna go, call the repair guy, we're stuck like at 40 million feet up.
You would think about that. Well, my opinion is, space travel is going to be here before this thing's
Oh,
done.
that's ridiculous.
Or time travel.
It's just a ridiculous thing.
Okay, now here's something else.
What if
that-
Godzilla comes and bites the bottom of it and falls down?
Maybe Godzilla will want to ride on it. Instead of 30 people, they'll just do him one time.
Oh, you know who I'm gonna meet when I go back?
Who?
The
I
princess.
heard. Just be sure you take pictures, okay?
Well, she wants to take a picture of me.
Take a picture
I
of
think
the
the
bowl.
princess likes me.
That's possible.
Yeah. I might become Emperor of Japan, who knows?
Well, that
It's
would be a
possible.
start for Emperor of the Universe, wouldn't
It's-
it?
Yep.
So, all right, now this is a kind of a new trend, and I've been bringing this one forward, so I want to continue with it, and it's not necessarily a pleasant one,
Uh-oh.
but it's one I want
Is
to...
it about me?
No, this one hopefully is not about you, my dear. This is about the topic of rape,
Oh,
which is a very serious topic, and I told you, they had this conference, this 2-day conference on rape, and what's her name, the actress, the Julia, pretty woman, what's her name? The just married Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, that one. Okay, anyway, so she was working on that. Now, listen to some of these things, because I'm thinking why are they bringing rape forward? There's a Pennsylvania woman who was blamed for her own rape in state response to a lawsuit, because this 24-year-old typist was working in a state prison
yeah.
where she was attacked by a known rapist who was incarcerated there in an area that was apparently not monitored or locked, because she was choked unconscious and raped for 27 minutes by this man. Now the point is they're blaming her. Okay, this is a 24-year-old typist. Let me ask this question. Where was her supervisor?
Where were the security cameras?
Who okayed that the office could be even moved there?
Oh, why was this guy able to walk in her office?
Well,
Was he in
they're
a jail cell?
saying that it was her fault because
Why?
she knew that there was no security. She knew that the prisoners had
They
access.
told her to work there.
And her supervisors obviously had to okay that. So to me, again, it's some kind of a setup, and now they're bringing that forward. Now, there was also an ex-teacher who was in Montana, 47 years old, who was sentenced for raping a 14-year-old student for only 1 month.
Yeah, I saw her.
And they were saying that that 14-year-old was responsible for the rape, partly. So that's why they only gave him 1 month. Now, the women's rights groups, of course,
But they changed this.
they're in the process of changing that. And the girl, apparently, she committed suicide before his case could go to trial.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So he's going back to court. But again, they continue to, for a couple of things, they're saying that children have the responsibility of an adult. A 14-year-old does not have the capacity to understand what they're doing when they enter into a sexual liaison with a 47-year-old teacher who's supposed to be protecting the child. That's a child at 14. So that's happening. Now listen to this one. This I saw not go very far on Facebook, but I thought this is really horrible. But here we have a T-shirt that was, how did it make it to a Philippines department store at all? And it had the saying on it, it says, it's not rape, it's a snuggle with a struggle. And I thought, now that's horrible. I saw that a little bit on Facebook, and I'm thinking, people who post this are sick. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say that out loud. And now, how did this manage to get into a Philippines department store?
Philippines, I'm just sorry, but I've been
I
there
do
a couple
know
of
that
times.
they have, yes. They
And
allow a lot of
Philippines
things.
are a very childlike society.
Yes, but the point being, in my opinion, is they're trying to downplay what rape is. Now, I actually believe that everybody has a responsibility, whether it's conscious or subconscious, and
Well,
what
we
happens
all
to
attract our own experiences.
Right,
In that
based on
respect,
mind
yes,
pattern.
but that doesn't make it right.
That's correct. And to make fun of it or to lighten it, I think, is not a positive way to go about eliminating such activity here. It's to address the base mind pattern.
Remember, Illuminati culture and ritual, that is, rape is a standard.
Well, and that's why I think it's being put forward, because as we're seeing all these things happen, and then the women now are talking more and more, well, I should be able to do this and I should be able to do that without having an issue. Well, it's like if you go out, let's say in a forest and it's populated with wolves, and you have, carrying a bunch of meat around, most likely they're going to attack you. It's like you have to be mindful, don't stop in front of a moving bus. So if you put yourself out
Unless
there...
you're Superman.
Well, if you put yourself out there, you have to take responsibility for the action.
Yeah.
So I do agree that everybody on some level is responsible, but we have to be mindful of that mind.
It takes two, not just one.
Well, it's the mind pattern that's going to attract the oppressor.
Right.
So you can't, let's say, here I am, oppressor, I'm bait, and then if the oppressor comes and go, oh my gosh, what happened? Everybody has at some point a level of responsibility.
That's right.
So, but I agree with you. I think that they're putting this forward because at some point, is it possible it's going to be okay? There are countries, basically, like we've talked about, whether it's the child marriages, in some of the Asian countries that happen.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of places where rape is okay. It's seen as part of the culture. So are they
considered an acceptable punishment?
a lot of things, but like I'm thinking child brides, for example, they consider it okay that, a 47-year-old man would sleep with an 8-year-old girl, and that's rape, but they consider that okay. So there are cultures that do condone such things. Here in the West, we generally don't condone such activity.
No.
And to me, they're starting to bring up, originally it was, if you're a victim of rape, you have no responsibility. Now they're doing more and more, you have a responsibility.
Yes.
So if we're going to go the other boundary, you're going to have to keep your eyes open. And my last story, which is if you're late with your car payment, the bank could remotely turn off your vehicle. And people are signing up for this, people with poor people usually. They have bad credit. For whatever reason, they need a vehicle, obviously, to get around, so they let a bank put in this tracking device. So if they're even one day late, they can turn it off. Now, there's a lady, an attorney, and I didn't write that down, Las Vegas one, I think it was. She's actually taking this to court because when you sign the contract, it says you have 30 days before they can basically take away your card or start, start legal action. But according to these devices, they can turn off your car within one day.
If they did that, there'd be a lot of people not going to work.
Right.
So I don't think they'll do that.
But they are doing it. They have cases where they have done it. One woman's car they turned off in the middle of the freeway, and she didn't know what was going on. And there are people all around her, and she's doing 50, 60 miles an hour, and all of a sudden her car stops. So
she
she's
could have been
settled.
killed.
Yes, and she's settled. But they say that 2 million cars have these devices in them right now.
You know what? A lot of cars have devices that nobody knows
That's
about.
right. These are called starter interrupt devices.
The police have that. If you're chasing you,
Yeah.
they can shut your engine off.
There's a lot of things. And we talked about like Princess Diana, how she was sacrificed, by possibly, my feeling has always been something on this border, and she was hit a certain place.
There'll be a lot. I think people are going to be taking bicycles again.
Yeah, well, but the issue is people are allowing these things. And this is what we tell you for programming, for Illuminati, for the oppressor.
Yeah.
You invite it in, and if you invite it in, basically, you're responsible. You've got a responsibility, and that's my point. So these are kind of topics that we will be addressing in our October seminar that will be happening just around the corner. We have a new venue, which we're very excited about.
It's wonderful.
It's a brand new hotel.
It's really an upgrade.
Yeah, it's amazing. So it's not right on the lake, but it's like 5 minutes away.
Yeah, but you know what? You need paying attention to me, not the lake.
Well, that's
Okay,
the
go to the
point.
lake afterwards.
We are offering to keep you there so you can visit with each other. It's going to be a light lunch, but it's very nice. It's a
very
beautiful
nice.
hotel. And of course, we always give you snacks. We always give you coffee, tea, steamed distilled water. We give you morning snacks. We give you afternoon snacks. And now we're going to throw in the light lunch. And all of that is complimentary along with your admission to
That's a great deal, people.
seminar. And the hotel itself, even though it's Notre Dame football weekend, whatever, and people do come up from Indiana and stay here, they're giving you a great rate for that room. And in January, if you come to our January, you're going to get $99 a night.
Yeah.
And if you share
That's
with
amazing.
another
For
person
that
coming,
hotel, it's amazing.
it's a Hilton.
Hilton Garden.
Hilton Garden Inn. It's a Benton Harbor, St. Joseph.
But it's
Look it
brand
up.
new.
It's brand new.
Huge.
And the people love us because we know them from other venues that we've been.
We met the owner.
We met the owner, and we're going to their open house. We've been invited to that at the end of October. But they're very excited to have us there. And like I said, it's a gorgeous room. It's a nice place to come and be. The energy is great. If you can stay there, that's fabulous. And
It's beautiful.
you
really
have to book
amazing.
ASAP because of the
Swimming
homecoming
pool,
game.
hot tub, everything.
It's got a nice restaurant, so
Bar.
bar. We don't know if they have their liquor
Well, they
license.
said any minute they're going to get the license.
By the time our seminar actually happens, I don't know about that.
They will.
But anyway, it is a fabulous place. We're excited about the venue. We're excited about what we can give to you when you come. We're excited that you're going to come and meet other people who are interested as you are in this information. If, however, you can't make it, I'm going to tell you we are still working on getting our pay-per-view up.
Well, if they don't come, I won't talk to them.
Well, you won't be able to talk to them personally. You will only talk to them personally if they actually come to the event. So if you want to talk to us personally and interact with us personally, come to the event. Then you can get your questions answered. Otherwise, you'll go on pay-per-view and you'll have to listen to other people who are talking about it. And you know, the other thing is, it's kind of a timely topic, so I'm going to bring it up. You know, and there was a thing I put on my Facebook page, but you know, if you always wanted to do it, don't wait till tomorrow.
You never know.
Because tomorrow might not come.
You never know.
And unfortunately, I have been telling you, you know, besides our mother's passing, this year there have been so many people,
Yes,
young
young
people that are going. And so, you know, don't wait till tomorrow. We don't know what tomorrow will bring.
If you want it, do it.
If you want to come, you're going to have to make it happen. Talk to Patricia, customer support at expansions.com. She will help you. If you can't make October, you need to make January. Because
That's gonna be a
January
really good one.
is 7 days of very intense work with really great people,
And
including us.
I have even more information for them. That in January is going to be, I'm even excited about it.
So we have a lot of things which we build on. And if you take the January, if you're interested in our Oversoul Mastermind group, that is, as you know, is our think tank. We have a meeting this afternoon.
Right, we got to hurry up. 'Cause
Yeah, we're going to have that meeting coming up right away. So anyway, if you are interested in that group, one of the requirements is you must come to the January class. So if you miss the January class, you got to wait a whole another year to join our Oversoul Mastermind group. And even then you have to apply. So, because there are other things you have to do besides the January class, like, you know,
Like gifts for me,
right, wear the white sheet, shave your head, right?
all that
Right,
stuff.
we put you on a chair, hold you up in the air, turn you
Well,
around. See if you get dizzy.
I could become the Emperor of Japan.
We could be the emperor of the Oversoul Hyperspace Extravaganza group.
Seriously, yeah.
So we have that coming up. So what else?
And just again, a reminder that end of February into March, I will be going back to Poland. Who goes back to Poland? I go back. People spend their life trying to get out of Poland. I go back.
Poland is a beautiful place.
Poland, it is beautiful,
I
and
love
the
Poland
people
when I
are
was
great.
there.
The food is great.
Yes.
Everyone is wonderful. I've also been asked at the same time to do a seminar in Vienna. So all my Austrian and maybe German, Czech, and Slovakian friends can come.
Well, they can choose, maybe they'll go to both.
They can go to both, and actually I'll be driving from Poland to Austria. And
How
then,
scary is that for the people on the road?
very, very scary. And then I will possibly after that be going to Japan.
And maybe Singapore.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
there's
I mean, I know you want me to be away a long, long time.
yeah, I get
but-
a lot of work done. I do a lot of my fasting when you're
Yeah,
gone, and the people
yeah.
on the blog like that.
Yeah, I
They like,
fast when I'm gone too.
they like to fast with me. Because it's a way of cleaning things out from the physical,
Yeah.
releasing the non-physical things that hold in. So
Yeah.
it's amazing work we do on
So
the
maybe you
blog.
could figure, some other place I can go, so I can just
I'm working
keep
on it.
revolving around the world
I
and
am
not
working,
come back.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
Okay.
So, but anyway, so be sure you're a member on our site so you can join me on the blog because we do a lot of really great work there. Be sure you like our Facebook page. We're almost to 3,000. I'm like, okay, Auntie Fee has got like over 100,000.
Annie Fee, don't make me start talking about Annie Fee.
Annie Fee has over 100,000, and our
But
we
please don't
even-
do her cooking, please.
We only have like not even quite 3,000. So pass it around. Maybe we could get on
Well,
Annie Fee to like us.
TripAdvisor, I got 130,000 readers.
Yeah, but I need on expansions because that helps raise us up in Google and helps people find us. People who are looking for this information. So like our Facebook page, pass it to your friends, share all our posts. Everything helps us get up
Yeah.
higher in the Google search
Well, we got to
engines.
run.
Okay, we got to run. Got to go.
All right, see you next time.
Bye bye.